Hi, I'm Zach Stewart.
Laura Hotchkiss.
And I'm Daniel Kvoras. On this podcast, we improvise in character as hosts of a morning radio show in a fictional country called the Driftwood Isles.
Everything we say is made up, and none of the events, people, or places are real.
It's that simple. Now enjoy this episode of Good Morning Driftwood. And welcome on back to Good Morning Driftwood, folks. It's me, Dirk Wiley, with my lovely, lovely friends, my besties, forevsies. That's Penelope MacGuffin.
You took so long between saying besties for FCs and saying the name that I genuinely feared it.
Feared the name?
No, feared the he doesn't remember.
No, it's suspense. It's for suspense and tension and grandeur. It's to build up. Oh my goodness. It's to raise you up in your name and your status.
Okay, I'm going to watch you build up more suspense on the next one.
And next up, the man, the wonder, the enigma. That's a Bench PerDiem right there.
Wow.
What you feel it? You feel it?
There becomes a point, though, I think, in any sort of empty air where it circles around, like, building tension, building suspense to, I think he's forgotten. Oh, I think he might be thinking about shopping list to, he's won it back.
So you think people just get lost in that space?
Yeah, I think people go on a little mind journey where at some point it will be inevitable that they will think, I need to get milk before I go home.
So the mind will wander in that space.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have.
Sorry,
I don't have them. Sorry, I don't have them in the grip of my in the grip of my suspense. They just drift off.
I think the people watching are like, wait, what's he gonna say? But I think you, whilst building the suspense, your brain's like, I'm building suspense. I'm leaving a gap. Here's some silence. Maybe I should get milk on the way home.
Now,
I wonder if this shop's
you think
gonna be open
my
or
mind
not.
has wandered?
Yeah.
You've brought that specific twice, and you did say inevitably people will think about getting milk on the way home. It's not like your mind wanders up to anything. It's just to this one specific
Milk.
100%.
Specifically milk.
100% need to buy milk on the way home.
Specifically on the way home.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm buying milk on the way home.
Do you need it?
Yeah.
Or are you just going to get it
How much milk do you go?
Wait,
do you have to get milk every single? Do you have to get milk on the way home every single day?
Hold on, do you two never just buy like the small milk and then just like need to replace it every so often?
No, I'm getting that giant milk. Getting the biggest milk you can get.
That means
every day.
That means it's basically becoming cheese by the time you're finished dealing with it.
No, you drink it.
I drink that.
How would that just become cheese by the time he's done using it? Do you think milk spontaneously turns into cheese?
No, but I think if you're buying the giant milk, how much milk are you drinking if you're buying the really big one every day?
I still get it every day, gallon a day.
That's a lot of milk.
Keeps the doctor away, that's what they say.
Gallon of milk a day keeps the doctor away. And I drink it all within 1 hour each day.
Okay.
I compress the time. Because I saw, someone told me that there was a challenge that it's impossible to drink a gallon of milk within an hour.
Within an hour? That feels very doable.
Okay, hold on. So you successfully did it.
Really? Do you think so?
A gallon of milk in an hour?
Ask the internet, Bench. Because there's a lot of people who then try to do it and then fail.
Is that real?
Hold on.
But I tried to do it and succeeded.
Hold on.
And I said, I'm going to do this every day.
Why didn't you just go, I've succeeded, pat me on the back, well done me, and walk away from it? What makes you return to this every day?
Because I need to reassert my dominance over the internet, I guess, over the world.
Yeah.
Like my superiority.
We are opposites here in the milk drinking. Like I just buy the small one. I'll like put it in tea. Like you are literally buying the big one and just gulping it.
Yeah. It's like my daily, it's like daily affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
You know how some people look in the mirror and they say, you're great, you're a heat champ, you're going to have a great day today.
Yeah.
Drinking a gallon of milk in a super compressed period of time is how I tell myself.
Power pose.
Mm-hmm.
I'm great.
Yeah. You don't have to do the mantra because the act of drinking the milk is the mantra.
Yeah. Struggling through
so
a gallon of milk because it never goes down easy.
No.
I do it every day. It never goes down easy.
And it's always just down to the wire, 59 minutes, 59
I'm breathing
seconds.
hard that entire hour.
Which milk? Are you going for semi-skimmed or are you going for full fat? Are you going for the gold one that's almost like a real thick cream texture?
You got to go skim. If you go any more than skim, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Hold on, Dirk. Oh no. Did you check that the challenge was for skim milk?
I didn't check.
Oh, God.
I assume it must be. It was just a gallon of milk.
Well,
nothing was specified.
I would imagine that if anyone can do that with full-fat milk, it would be Dirk.
If anything, one can do that for full-fat milk. That person is a psychopath. But I could do it.
Yeah. And I think you're going to try.
If anyone who would try that is definitely a psychopath.
Yeah.
But
I can do it though. Yeah. I'm definitely going to do it.
Yeah.
Like,
and you're not a psychopath.
No.
What?
Those are two separate.
Very separate things here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would try that though? For like, who would think? No, but who would think to try that? Like, really?
But you could.
Like, but I am going to do it. Like, I could do it. I could do it.
You're going to try.
And I will prove that to myself.
Yeah.
And the world.
I don't know if the world. Last time I checked the internet, the world weren't like, we need to know. You know. So I do. There is a little bit of me that thinks you're doing this for yourself.
You know, sometimes it is for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering.
And sometimes I do it and I throw it out off my balcony as a sign, like, I did it, world. And the man at the bodega across the street applauds.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he, surprisingly, not many people would know this, he is actually an independent adjudicator for challenges like this. So it's actually really useful that you throw the milk across the street because then he can check that there's no milk left in the bottle.
It works out nicely. He's sort of a self-appointed Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah, Guinness refused to acknowledge him. He self-appointed himself, though.
Yeah. Well, we on Driftwood do not recognize the authority of the Guinness Corporation.
Famously one of our many enemies.
Yes. one of our enemies, our nemesis, the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah. We disagree with anyone who wants to like put challenges in a book.
Yeah.
We think those challenges belong in public squares.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually in a museum.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And Darren McCallop is our adjudicator for that, the owner of the bodega across the street from my place.
Now, I have been wondering it for the last minute or so.
What's that?
Do we have a gallon of milk here, and could we have you try to do that?
No, I know for a fact we haven't, because I used milk earlier and there was like an eighth of that bottle left.
Gotcha.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Would it make
Matthias has
radio?
real strict rules about the amount of milk.
Also, technically, what is a gallon when you put it into Driftwoodian measurements?
Oh, that's true. What's the conversion from gallons to?
I think it's 37 quanticles.
It's 37.
Oh, I thought you held the 8, but you.
That's
37.
only for weight.
Oh yeah.
Not volume.
You're right.
Yeah, it's
You're right.
volume,
Not volume.
Mm-hmm.
You hold it for weight.
Got you.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then for milk specifically, you have to add 10 peace pies per quanticle.
Yeah, sorry, I was forgetting this was the milk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have milk
quantity
specific.
Yeah, volume.
Yeah.
It's honestly
metrics.
weird to me that other
metrics.
systems don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
They're lazy.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, they're lazy. They use grams for too many things.
It's a different, like 100 grams of feathers and 100 gram of like steel is not the same.
No, they're different inherently.
Yeah.
It confuses me when they start using grams for liquids as well.
Because you should be using quanticles and peace pies.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you should also be taking into account what is the liquid.
What is the liquid?
Yeah,
is
different
it
liquids
liquid?
weigh differently.
Is it viscous? Is it chunky like soups?
Is it chunky like soups?
Yeah, because that is still technically a liquid.
Yeah, don't even get me started on soup measurement.
Oof.
I mean, is it a minestrone? Is a very different mathematical equation to is it just a nice cream of tomato?
Or is it a chowder? Chowder throws the whole system into question.
It really does.
Because there's so many solids in.
Yeah. I was doing so well in maths until the Chowder equations came into it, and then I was like, "Oh boy!"
In year 11, that Chowder year, as the kids refer to it,
The Chowder year.
things go haywire in schools across Driftwood. The Chowder year is known as just breaking children.
Yeah, that's kind of a coming of age test that we all have to go through at some point. We've all dealt with a big chowder,
and some kids do get the chowder madness, and they just drift into Finicky Ridge and disappear forever, lest the hill people take them.
That is the biggest theory on how the hill people in Finicky Ridge started. They were all chowder rejects. Yeah.
Chowder madness. Rest in peace. Those chowder souls. The souls
I think they're alive.
Chowder has taken.
I think they're alive.
I think they're alive as well.
Probably no souls though.
Do you think Chowder Madness removes the soul from the child?
Probably, yeah. That makes sense to me.
Interesting.
No?
Isn't that the plot of his Dark Materials? Like, isn't that the plot of that book series? Is that the kids didn't eat the chowder and then their souls got ripped from their bodies, and if your soul was ripped from your body, you weren't allowed like an animal pet. I can't really remember the specifics.
I'm not familiar with this book.
Those weren't maybe the specifics are off, but I'm pretty sure that the plot of those books were that they, like, if you got the Chowder Madness, your soul left, and then something to do with James McAvoy.
And then
James McAvoy is a character in the books.
Yeah.
And then James McAvoy won't be your familiar, your friend, your
won't be your buddy.
Friend.
Yeah, he won't be.
So if you don't eat chowder, James McAvoy won't be your friend. No, that's the plot of this.
You're right, because he's half goat.
Fawn.
Yeah, like, isn't he half?
Yeah, that's Narnia, but it still applies.
No, that's also in this book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So if you don't eat chowder, James McAvoy won't be your friend.
Mm-hmm.
I respect that. He is a man of principle.
Now, again, I haven't read those books, but how does Turkish Delight fit into that?
Turkish Delight, it's, oh God, like, honestly, it's been so long since I did, but I think it's just that, like, you should enjoy a Turkish Delight after the chowder or the witch gets mad about it.
That tracks.
What does she do when she gets mad about the fact that you didn't eat Turkish Delight?
She goes off on, like, a really, I'm going to be honest, quite political rant. About
does she
outsiders.
Does she like own the Turkish Delight company? And so
I think
so she's trying to like drive up sales by instilling fear if people don't eat it.
Never openly admitted, but from the subtext, she's definitely got shares in it. I think it's one of those, like, they're keeping it on the down low things.
Yeah.
Where, like,
she has like a shell company, like a Narnia shell company that owns the Turkish Delight factory.
Narnia? What's Narnia?
Is it Narnia?
Is that a different book?
You mentioned Narnia.
I have mentioned Narnia.
Oh gosh, sorry. I didn't even pick up when you mentioned that. That must be a different book.
I'm pretty sure you said, he played, because I mentioned that James McAvoy plays a fawn in that, like the half goat, and you were like,
oh, and he's also in the Dark Materials.
That's the Dark Materials, though. You're thinking of a different book.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Narnia.
Okay. So in his Dark Materials, there's a queen who owns the Turkish Delight factory.
Got it.
Okay, I see. And James McAvoy is running around being friends with chowder folks.
Interesting, a lot of similarities between those two books.
Not really, when you think about it.
How do you separate them in your mind?
Oh, really easily. Okay, so his Dark Materials is about the Chowder Madness. Okay. Narnia is about some kids escaping war.
Oh, so you do know those books?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard of them.
Yeah.
Never really got into them.
There is a big Turkish Delight thing there as well.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. Weird how many similarities there are.
Yeah.
I wonder if anyone's looked into plagiarism, especially with James McAvoy being in both.
Maybe James McAvoy could be the problem.
And again, he is written as a character in both of those books, right? They specify this is James McAvoy.
Really worked out then that there's an actor born named James McAvoy who's so talented.
At least Narnia was written 60, 70, 80 years ago. No, exactly how long.
James McAvoy is suspiciously old. Like, he's one of those guys
looked real similar for a real long
time.
Do you think he has one of those paintings in his attic of him that he gets real old?
Spirit David Tennant?
Yeah.
Who keeps him young?
David Tennant gets really old, but James McAvoy
stays the same age.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to accuse anyone of anything.
Go ahead, do it. We haven't had it in a while.
I actually,
but we've got
no, don't do it. Oh, the lawyer said I'm not allowed anymore. After the last
does a
time,
Penny J'accuse have legal standing?
Apparently, after the last one, they said it was actually libel.
Oh, wow.
It's like a whole thing.
Listeners, please retract the air horn that you just heard. That is not an officially sanctioned air horn.
It was a whole thing.
We retract the air horn.
Okay, apparently you can't just accuse people.
What if you j'accuse people?
Apparently, like, the French caveat doesn't count. I said if it's in French, that's not legally Driftwoodian legal issues.
Yeah. Maybe they could sue you in France, but you're not going to France. You're staying in Driftwood.
Never going to go to France.
So they can just deal
never
with that.
Never going to turn up there. But the station lawyers
Penny
were
is
like...
famously never going to go to France.
Never going to go to France. The Driftwood lawyers, though, like the Driftwoodian legal system that operates, like, well... Not to go like too much into like behind the scenes of radio, but the station has lawyers whose whole thing is to try and keep us.
We don't like to brag about it.
We don't want to brag, but there is like a team of lawyers who every single day go through everything we've said to work out what the financial implications will be.
Now, a big problem here is that they do this after we have said these things live on air. So there's not much they can do other than give us like pointers to avoid problems.
Well, we
in the
say
future.
not much we can do, but obviously a lot of what they can do is then just be in court for the preceding legal issues.
I believe their official, the department name is damage control.
This is it, damage control.
Our legal department is just called damage control.
That makes sense.
So a couple times I have done j'accuse against, popular celebrities, politicians.
You've accused them all.
Companies. And apparently, I personally, with those j'accuses, have cost the station 4.5 million doubloons.
Wow. And the fact that they keep you on is just a sign of how good of a broadcaster you are.
That's
testament to my popularity and success.
I was going to say union contract, but that too.
Yeah.
There would be riots in the streets if Penny left Good Morning Driftwood.
Also, I've heard that because so many people were tuning in to listen to who I was about to do some libel against,
well, if you call it libel, you're really setting yourself up to be...
The big problem here is you saying I'm going to libel against X
I have
person.
been through hours and hours of legal training now. Like you two were like, oh, we're away for lunch. You want to come for lunch? And I was like, I can't. I got to go with the boring people into the training room and look at some slides. Like they have, in what I can only describe as a clockwork orange way, sat me down, opened my eyelids with toothpicks, and made me look at a series of slide after slide after slide, explaining in great detail how it's a bad thing to do because it costs the station money.
Man, the damage control department doesn't mess around.
And you really did have like a physical, violent reaction to the idea of having the j'accuse segment again.
Yeah. It makes me feel unwell.
I'm still surprised that that training wouldn't teach you to frame this as like your opinions, which do not represent the opinions of the show.
Well,
instead, you're saying who I'm going to commit libel against today is
because
that's really inviting. When you use legal terminology like that, you're really inviting that to happen, and also saying you're going to commit a crime. If I was going to say like who I'm going to burgle today is Jeffrey Tambor and
the actor Jeffrey Tambor.
No, Jeffrey Tambor, the guy who owns the bakery on.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. Who I would never burgle his delicious baked goods.
Again. Sorry, I
brought those.
did it again. Sorry.
No,
sorry,
this is borderline.
Penny is referring to.
Yeah, sorry, I did a libel against.
Well, I told you last week when I showed up with all those pastries, I just said, "Hey, I found these.
Mm-hmm.
I found those pastries on the street.
Yep.
I did not take them from any establishment, and I certainly didn't break into Jeffrey Tambor's bakery."
You did say that.
150 doubloons.
You don't need to.
An apology settled out of court.
You don't. I'll take this, but I'm not going to cash it. I'm not going to cash this check. I appreciate you clearly have your system down, just instinctively writing checks to anyone who you even minorly slight. Which I wonder how sustainable this is when you're just writing checks of people that
It's actually much cheaper for me to just pay now a smaller settlement than it is to do the j'accuse and do because the legal costs, there's so fewer. We're not subject to like any rulings that might be like you have to pay the opposition's legal fees, etc., etc., etc. So like this is actually real cheap versus.
So me taking this is I can now not sue you.
No, you can't do an out of court settlement and then go back to suing.
I think you found quite a loophole here.
I don't know if that's a loophole as much as it's just like a tactical thing done in the courts. I don't know. They explained it to me in like a bunch of slides, and I'll be honest, I got a little bored and I started sleeping with my eyelids open.
So you have now figured out how to sleep with your eyelids open so the damage control department's videos don't have an effect on you?
I want the damage control team to know that whilst I have stopped doing j'accuse, I will call them libel and I will make this as hard as humanly possible for them because I do not respect them.
The damage control department.
I want the damage control department to know I do not respect them.
So are you going to go off on a new libel segment?
Not a segment because I've agreed that I'm not going to do that.
The damage control department?
I would never do anything that was like a j'accuse or a libel because I am trained not to do that. But I'm just going to get my checkbook out and write a little check to the damage control people for what I might say.
She's running
1,000 doubloons seems about right. Yeah.
I don't know the
what
going
you're
rate.
going to say.
Didn't you just give me 150?
You're really easy to buy off.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm looking at the mirror.
You
right
said
now.
you weren't even going to cash it. I could have put anything on it.
That's a good point. You know me so well, Penny.
I think it says more about you and your like desire to not negotiate than it says about me.
I never negotiate.
You refuse.
Yeah.
I refuse.
You take the first offer
Yeah.
always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I never negotiate in business, and I never negotiate with terrorists. They don't really talk.
One of
they don't
those-
contact me.
I don't think that has
It hasn't come up yet.
No.
But you do.
But also,
Probably the reason it probably hasn't come up is because they know I will not negotiate.
never
with them.
negotiate. Although I would argue in one of those situations it's a
Yeah.
good thing, and in one of those situations it's not a great thing.
Which one is the not great thing?
Like not negotiating in business,
Why is that not
because
good?
it's like you probably should negotiate in business. You might get a better deal. You might be able to like bring more things to the table. It might be better in the long run. You know.
Oh, I just always heard like leaders and people who seemed strong say, I don't negotiate.
Okay, you've only watched
And I was like,
Politician.
oh, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like that.
That's why you also have that big banner in your house that says mission accomplished, right? Over your bedroom.
Oh, yeah. Because
Yeah.
every day is a mission accomplished. I walk into my bedroom, I look at that, I chug my my gallon of milk, and I just bing, bang, bong, bong, party all day, all
You do the
night
gallon
long.
of milk before going to bed.
Oh, yes.
That's-
Very restful. You know how some people drink like a warm glass of milk
Mm-hmm.
before they go to bed?
Sure.
I chug an ice cold gallon of milk straight from the fridge.
For a full hour.
For a full, as long as it takes.
Mhm.
It usually takes an hour.
Mhm.
And again, I struggle through this thing,
Do
you guys.
you do
it
anything
it
else
does
during
not
that hour?
go down smooth. I struggle through it and it hurts, but I do it every night. And then I immediately go to sleep.
You
What was
just
that
pass
question?
out. So that hour that you do that for, do you do anything else that hour? Or
You
is it
have
just
to
like a
commit to
slow
the milk,
pour?
Bench.
Can't
You have to
imagine,
commit
yeah.
to the milk if you want to accomplish
So
this.
is it just like a slow pour through, like continuous
No,
throughout the hour? How
sort
does
of.
it work?
I drink really, really fast. And then at a certain point, it becomes too much. And I start choking a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I stop and I catch my breath.
You
And
need
then
to give it a minute to settle to then.
And then as soon as I catch my breath again, I start choking again until I choke again.
For a
And it's
full
just
hour.
it's just a series of intense chugging and choking and gasping
But
for breath until it's
Yeah.
done.
What Dirk
And
isn't
then I
mentioning.
fall
though-
asleep / pass out
Yeah. What Dirk isn't mentioning is
in
when
a
he
puddle
says
of milk.
he stops for a minute to let it settle. Those are like 17-minute increment. Like he takes a good 17 minutes to let it settle.
How
and
would
then
you-
does
how do you
real
do
It
that?
fast
takes a
chugging.
while to.
The
Sometimes
videos on
I
the
video
internet
call.
are pretty interesting.
There's
I'll
videos.
post,
Yeah.
I'll post the videos on the internet as
I
like
haven't
shows
seen
of
those.
dominance. Sometimes I also just video chat with you, Penny.
Sometimes as well, I've genuinely just had to like phone you to ask a question about like what time is the thing, like just a basic run of the mill question, and I've accidentally caught you.
And I'll say, ooh, hey,
Chugging
check
it.
this out. And I'll put the phone
Yeah.
there and then I'll
And
run
I
into
never
the.
realized, I'll be honest, I never realized you were doing it every day as a thing, as a response to people who have said that that can't be done. I just assumed I just caught you when you were just like enjoying some milk.
You know, that makes sense now because I have called you a few times and it just sounded like you were choking or like trying to speak through a burp and you didn't
That
really
could be
explain
any.
what-
That could be any number
Okay,
of things.
Got
Bench.
it. Got it.
Yeah, a couple times.
I never asked because I was like, hey, you know,
Sometimes it's
if
milk.
you want to tell me, you'll tell me.
Sometimes it's milk. Sometimes it's my squirrel dinners that I have with Justice the Falcon.
Squirrel dinners?
Yeah, he catches squirrels at night and then brings them back, and then we cook them up and eat them for dinner. Yum yum yum.
Nice.
And
Squirrel
yeah,
pair well with a gallon of cold milk.
you'd be surprised.
I
Raw
would.
squirrel meat goes well with
Raw.
milk.
You eat it raw.
Well, Justice recommends that. I say it's chef's choice, and obviously the chef is Justice the Falcon. He doesn't know how to cook.
So your diet these days consists of raw squirrel meat and a gallon of cold skim milk.
And baked goods that I find, quote unquote, on the street.
Okay, at least it's balanced.
Stop robbing.
You got your
I'm just
fat,
gonna
you
do
got your
another
carbs,
shot.
you got your proteins.
Mhm.
Could be worse.
Could it?
It could. It could.
I'm sure.
There's a lot of there's protein in there. There's whatever's in milk, and then there's pastries. and baked
Whatever's in
good.
milk.
I don't really understand what's in milk.
Your
I'm going to be
bones
honest.
are probably like titanium at this point.
You have like
That's a good
Wolverine
point.
bones.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Wolverine bones.
Yeah.
Ooh. I am probably.
Please don't try and punch anything to see how solid they are.
You saw me looking at the wall.
You
saw me looking at that wall.
I was really worried about not only the wall but the steel beam that exists here. I was like, he's going to.
Well, obviously that would be the best challenge of my bone strength to punch steel. So I should start with that.
No. Oh no! We need your hands to work the console. So kick it. Use your legs.
Yeah, kick it. Use your legs.
Okay.
Yeah,
that seems safer.
Yeah,
sure.
Less impacts the radio broadcast.
Okay.
Because you'll still be able to use your hands, and you sit down for mostly anyway.
This is true. I appreciate, but my safety. You're not worried about my safety at all.
No, because you chug a gallon of milk every day. I think your bones probably
would recover pretty quick.
I don't even think the steel will dent it. I think you will kick that steel beam, and the steel beam will go, ow.
I don't want to be controversial.
This.
I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Why not?
I trust you and I support you.
He doesn't have any faith in this endeavor.
No,
you believe in me so much, Penny. And
I have a basic understanding of how metals and bones work, I think is the main issue.
Exactly. A basic understanding.
We're saying that, but
not an advanced
I'm happy to be I'm happy to
and
be
if I learned anything from National Geographic Kids, it's about...
You're now a huge fan, aren't you?
I love National Geographic Kids.
You had such a 180 on them.
I admit, we've had our tiffs in the past. We've thrown haymakers back and forth with National Geographic Kids for years, but Penny brought up one of their quizzes. They've got some good content. They've got some good material over there.
They got some really interesting, like the outcomes of the quizzes are pretty interesting.
And you know I love bird facts and things like this, and
it's true.
They've got plenty of them.
You love when someone goes, hey, consider these options and tell me what your favorite is. Like that's one of your favorite things in the world. You love voting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you love
voting is basically just a personality test.
Huge fan of the democratic process in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Voting basically is just one big quiz.
Right to assembly.
Yeah.
The rest.
Yeah, and whoever you vote for tells you who you are.
Yeah,
it's
your whole identity.
Mm-hmm.
That and chugging a gallon of milk, eating raw squirrel meat and baked goods.
Yep.
Do you get the milk delivered? Or do you have like a subscription thing on the go now?
I have a milk subscription service.
So you don't have to pick it up on the way home?
Oh no.
So that's not universal? Huh.
You should talk to my milk guy.
I think I might. Yeah. Does he do small batches of milk or is it just gallons?
Hand delivered milk. I call him my milk dealer.
Wait. When you say hand delivered, in a bottle, right?
Or is it just a bunch of loose milk?
It comes in a bag.
Okay, that's better than what I thought it was. Yeah. I was like,
what did you think it was?
They was just cupped it in his hand. Maybe he brought like a trough and then he would do that.
He would need massive.
Yeah.
Oh, I should suggest that to him. He
don't
probably
suggest
could.
That. I don't think
you should.
Yeah, I think that would be really unsanitary.
No, bad.
Arguably efficient, but not hygienic.
Also, arguably not efficient.
It's a lot of arguablys.
Arguably, bad idea.
Milk.
Good point, Pench.
Never drank it. We don't have
You've never had milk?
We don't have time to get into that.
I could double my subscription and you could try it with me.
I don't know.
I'm going to talk to my dealer. I'm going to talk to my milk dealer. We're going to do this. And for Good Morning Driftwood is brought to you by Mama Giorgio's mozzarella sticks. Now back with their original recipe.
Hey.
Yeah, that's right. They have heard your feedback and the original recipe is back. They updated the recipe last year and everyone hated it.
It's bad.
Right? Did you guys like it?
Change is bad sometimes.
I don't like change. I like things to be the same.
Exactly. Mama Giorgio herself, she thought they were great and taste testing agreed. But you know what? People hate change.
People hate change. Also, Mama Giorgio famously bad taste.
Yeah.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Because she's got that empire of frozen treats.
Sure, she has an empire, but have you seen some of her outfits?
Well, she's
bad taste.
That's dangerously close to a j'accuse. We can't just...
It is close. And she got so many death threats for changing that recipe. She is a 93-year-old woman and...
Probably death himself or herself is threatening her.
Yeah. So those death threats probably...
That's libel.
I said probably. That covers me legally.
I don't know if I'd take on
Probably covers you in legal speaking. What does the damage control department think?
I'll go to court against death.
Based on probably, that's the probably defense.
I've had worse cases.
Maybe
we've had this case at Pitbull Court. They dragged me.
Probably murdered them. Probably didn't work it out. That's every court case going.
It is beyond a reasonable doubt
Probably. It muddies the waters. Well, if it's good enough for Pitbull Court, it's good enough for Driftwood. What do you think?
What about those mozzarella sticks? So tell me.
That's all there is to say about the mozzarella sticks.
Oh, you got me hungry.
Yeah.
Also, mozzarella, famously, like, kind of, if you think about like milk and cheese and that's all within that sort of realm, that could be a way that you could switch out your milk intake to just eating some mozzarella sticks.
Oh, you could chug a gallon of mozzarella sticks at night.
Yeah.
Before going to sleep.
That does seem safer and healthier.
Actually, maybe not mozzarella, because that is a stringy cheese and it can be a choking hazard.
We'll find out.
I talked myself into and then talked myself out of that really quickly.
Well, I think I'll just
stick with the milk.
I'll just do both. I think I'll just do both.
And a gallon of marinara. You got it. If you're having
mozzarella sticks, you need something to go with it, obviously.
A dry mozzarella stick is one of the worst things in the world.
No.
And milk is not going to be enough of a lubricant.
There are worse things.
I said one of the worst things. That's the probably defense.
Okay. Probably defense.
You got me there.
By your own logic.
Yeah.
Pitbull Court reels, knock, knock, knock.
Iris.
That was my gavel, knock, knock, knock.
Knock, knock, knock.
Pitbull Court determines the probably defense reigns. And Mama Giorgio's Mozzarella Sticks, we thank you for your sponsorship. For Good Morning Driftwood, we'll see you soon. Good Morning Driftwood is executive produced and hosted by Zach Stewart, Laura Hotchkiss, and Daniel Kvoras. Engineered and produced by Zach Stewart. Music by Daniel Kvoras.